Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Do you believe that there are psychics that can tell the future, or mediums that can relay messages from our loved ones that have passed? Do you believe a medical intuitive can help diagnose an illness when traditional medicine has failed to do so? Is all of this real or fake? Join me in exploring these questions on today's episode of Beyond Survival on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. My special guest today is Malissa FELIX, who is a psychic, medium, and medical intuitive. At a young age, Malissa experienced a significant amount of loss, one of which was her grandfather when she was 6 years old. While visiting her grandfather at the cemetery, she started seeing and hearing things from other gravestones that she didn't understand. These experiences continued, and 10 years later, Melissa became a teen mom. Raised in a very religious household that did not approve of the abilities she was experiencing and was unsupportive of her teenage pregnancy out of wedlock, this left Melissa feeling like an outsider, having a deep void, and a feeling of being alone for most of her life. This is a story for anyone who, through life's experiences, feels a deep void or a sense of loneliness and loss. Once Melissa learned to love herself and allowed herself to be her true self, everything changed in her life, and the same can happen for you too. So with that, I'd like to bring out Melissa.
Hi.
Hi, Melissa. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we will start with the first question. This is the best way to kick off the show because I know this is such a controversial topic from all the emails I've received before the show started. So to kick off the show, can you just explain what the difference is between a psychic, a medium, and a medical intuitive?
Yes. So a psychic is someone who connects with the person's energy to give them kind of clarity on things like life path or career, love, advice, maybe like purchasing a house. And then mediumship is when you're connecting directly to someone's loved one who has passed over. And you provide messages of comfort, to help the person with closure. Medical intuitive. I don't have a huge explanation on that because I can only speak for myself. When I do readings, I connect with the physical body, the person's muscles, the blood, the bones. Usually I do my scans and physical, but I can do them over FaceTime as well.
Great. So one of your first psychic experiences, I asked you so many questions about this, I'm so intrigued, was when you were at the cemetery visiting your grandfather. So that's when you said you started seeing and hearing things and you were like, yes. What is going on? Can you explain what you were experiencing and feeling? Because you were really young. When
I was young, we lived across the street from the cemetery. So my grandmother, we would grab water and go do all the graves, including my grandfather and other family, friends. She's the youngest out of all her family. So, it was one by one. And we would tend to the graves. And I just thought that everybody could connect with the graves and who was there. And she would tell me little stories. So I kind of thought I gathered most of my information from her telling me. But then as I got older, and then I realized there wasn't a lot of people that were on the same page, then I realized that I was communicating and other people were not.
Right. That's a lot to take in at 6 years old. And
Yeah, so it was, I lived in that house until I was 17. So that was like routine for me to help grandma like fill up the water and get it over to the cemetery. So I had done that for years, helping her plant the plant flowers. We'd go to go get flowers and then bring them down.
Right. So you, like me, so I understand this when you told me this part of your story, you were raised in a very religious household.
Yes.
Can you explain your
So funny thing is, my grandmother was at mass twice a day, but she was not so like critical about like what people did with their life. She believed you got to go to church and we got to go to mass and those kind of things. Ash Wednesday, but she wasn't like judgmental, should I say? My mom was really the one who was. She kind of seeked out a different religion, which was Pentecostal, and they were very strict. And my mother had a big belief system, and it was very rigid, let's say.
Yeah. So, did this ever, because it's your mom, right? And
Yeah.
you said she like took you to church and was like, do something with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She brought me to church. And I'd be up there with my other friends growing up that I now are out of the closet who are gay and whatnot. And we all got prayed on. And, hopefully they were praying on us to get the demons out, whether you were, connecting with spirit or, sexuality was the issue. But yeah, that was.
Yeah.
That's, and I really felt like there was something wrong with me, that I was seeing these awful things and why were they coming to me, these demons? And so I never was like truly scared, but because it was told that I shouldn't be doing it made it scary. They're coming to you because, they're trying to like corrupt you or, the demons are trying to get in. So then it became scary.
So did this ever make you like doubt yourself and your abilities? Like, maybe I'm not seeing this, or were you like, no, I am seeing this, I just don't understand why?
Yeah, I am seeing this and I don't understand why. I don't understand what the demons want with me so much. And if I'd see it, I would just kind of ignore it and just, move on quickly, not tell anybody, that's for sure. And just kind of silent battles myself.
And let's just be clear about this, right? You don't think it's demons that are
I don't now, but I did when I was little.
Okay.
So in like the early 90s, they used to put the face mask on the wall with the eyes were out. And so at night I would like those faces were kind of like come to life. And I'd always be like, oh my God, why are they like watching me? Or I would see like faces and like images kind of play out, kind of like in a movie. Like on people's curtains or just even like the curtains I have behind here, like the details, I would see like faces and then I would get like different pictures, which I now know I'm clairvoyant. So these pictures were like telling me a story from spirit, but I wasn't connecting the dots at that age. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you're aware, I have a huge chronic illness following. And people are looking to medical mediums, medical intuitives. So can you explain how you could help people as a medical intuitive?
Yeah, it's actually they're some of my favorite readings because I love helping people. And even if I can't help, I mean, not to say I'm perfect, but usually I do help. Maybe I don't get to every issue the person has going on because people can be so complex. You could just start your journey off and you can have 2 things going on and you can have like 7 things going on. So when someone comes to me when they have questions and the doctors can't find out what's going on, or maybe you just can't get in with the doctor fast enough. I've found cancers in people and something as simple as like iron deficiency. So I do events where you like rent the table and then people just walk up to your table and you're seeing somebody like every 15 minutes. One time I went like 6 hours straight where I had somebody coming in to see me for readings and they just hop in the bed. I scan over their body and just pick out like the first thing on the top that was the most problemsome. So you need to like get to, you have to have a game plan, like let's fix this and then we can work down from there. But I also believe the hugest issue is the emotional connection to our physical pain is is a huge like bottom line factor.
What do you mean by that?
So like people can have trauma, down to childhood, and usually is childhood trauma that resurfaces later on. So, say you have something that happens when you're 6, maybe you have a death when you're 25, but this now triggers that other trauma. So they're both coming through at the same time and just causing your body kind of like an overload or like a system shutdown, basically.
I think that's very hard for people to grasp whenever trauma is brought up. They're like, no, I'm physically sick. What does this thing that happened to me when I was, 8 years old have to do with? No, it's not connected.
Yeah. Well, so like we keep running because like the human spirit is naturally in survival mode. So yeah, when you were young, you just keep moving, bad things happen and you're on with your day, and we just keep running and we keep running. But then there's something that like stops us, like could even be like a broken leg where now you have to sit in bed for 2 weeks. Well, all the thoughts are coming in, and like those 2 weeks that you're sitting on that in bed and you're like, oh my God, I can't stand this. But all the feelings and thoughts that you usually don't feel are coming in. So you can kind of get a little grasp on how that works.
Mm-hmm. And are there people that you see that are like, I'm not even having those feelings, but you're saying,
Yeah. Yeah. So there are some people that are in complete denial of like trauma or anything bad that's happened to them or that it has anything to do. And so I know them personally. They're in my direct circle. And I just believe that that person is not ready to evolve in such a way in this lifetime. So I also believe in reincarnation and that we don't just experience one life. And so there are some people that are not going to experience that in this life, and that's okay.
oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
sad.
well, I always say next time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can help people as a medical intuitive. It doesn't have to be remote. I mean, it doesn't have to be local. It can be remote.
Yes. Yep. I do it over FaceTime. I've had clients in Hawaii and Alaska and all over India, Africa. I've had like pretty I don't know, what do you want to say? All over clients. So
Yeah. I have to ask because so many people said I needed to reach out to a medical intuitive. Yeah. So I was like, okay.
I love my like long distance clients because they can't find anybody nearby that understands what they're going through, and I love to help.
So before this interview, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me. Like I said, I know it's very controversial. There are people like, oh, I totally believe in that, or they bring up you specifically help them, or a different one help them, or what they believe and they don't believe. But there are other people that are like, these kinds of people, meaning you, psychic medium, can find out all about me on social media. And so they already know me before they meet me. So I can't trust this process, and I don't think that this is real. So how do you respond to people that say things like this? Because, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to do that with social media. Right. Now it's there. So how do you respond?
So I would always say go with like what your heart feels. So if you're like not feeling connected to the person that you're going to work with, like normally people are just instantly drawn to me, and then they immediately find comfort in what I provide. If you don't feel that, I always say kind of like wait until you're ready. But also when I do vendor events, so I'm just renting a table and I'm coming to this event and I'm going to be there for 4 to 6 hours. I have no idea who's attending. Nobody knows because it's just a walkthrough event. So people are coming up to my table. I mean, you could lie to me and be like, your name's Lisa, and I have no idea. And you lay on my table. I have no idea about your background or where you even came from. Some people come, from all over cities nearby. Also, when people book online with me, they're using like their mom's credit card or their husband's. I don't even know who's coming in, the husband, the wife, the sister-in-law. I also get paid through gift certificates, and, those are also, from gifts. So you don't really know who's going to be on the reading until I literally pick up the phone and then I'm doing the reading, or if you're walking in the physical.
Mm-hmm. So what would you want viewers to know about what you do, especially non-believers?
I feel like if they're non-believers, I'm not here to to change their mind on that, but if you are feeling like, you're lost and you need help, I feel like I definitely have a lot of patience with people, and I have a good way of explaining and making people feel comfortable. So I feel like I'm the one to reach out if you have any questions. Although I can't spend hours answering questions, but I always just say wait until you feel like you're ready. Wait until your heart and your soul is okay, I'm ready for this. If you're really feeling a lot of conflict, I just say wait until you've done your research and maybe you've asked me some questions and you feel better about it.
Right, right. It seems like, in hearing your story, like when we talked, how much angst you felt at a young age, right?
Oh, I had
Yeah.
debilitating anxiety.
Yeah.
I'll tell anybody I have veneers in the front of my mouth because my anxiety was so bad when I was young, I would throw up.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
I would enter the room and the energy of other people would impact me so deeply, and I didn't understand. I thought it was me. So,
oh my goodness, I would not like that.
yeah, no,
Get out of me.
and
Take it.
so now I can recognize the feeling because I turn it off and on so often, but when I was young, I'd walk into a room and I'd be like, "Oh." And
Oh,
I still do things like that on a smaller level, but
yeah. It seems like the things that have brought you peace and happiness, like your gift in helping people, is the same exact thing that caused that void and isolation in the first place, because you were ostracized by your family and demons and all that stuff. Is that an accurate statement?
yeah, it is. It's funny because I kind of I would avoid it. Family members are not supportive. Relationships are not supportive, and so I would just keep pushing it away until I finally was okay with myself. There's just this. There's a piece that I will never be able to get rid of or deny happening once I finally came into myself. Once I finally realized what I was feeling and why and how, there's just this piece. And so um, I feel like everyone is special and everyone has a gift. I feel like we're all here to help others. And the more you embrace who you are, the more you'll feel that peace, that the anxiety will start to subside. So I don't know how to answer that other than I absolutely love what I do.
But how did you make that transition? Because I know if maybe when I was younger, we're different when we're younger. If my family was like, no, we don't believe in this, and give me so much crap, that I probably wouldn't do it. I'd be like, oh, how did you make that transition to just be so strong and be like, no, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do, whether you like it or not? Because
Right.
there are people out there right now that aren't being themselves for whatever reason that may be. So
Yeah.
how do they make that transition to free themselves? What did you do?
So, not to bring up too many personal things, but so I actually got divorced in 2013, and during that, my family was already pretty much writing me off because of the divorce itself, not believing that you should get divorced and all the things. So at that time, I was already away from my whole family. I had absolutely no support in my divorce, and whole family disconnected from me other than my grandmother. So at that time, it was a perfect time to come into who I truly was. I started doing a lot of reading and attending spiritual classes like Reiki and sound healing, and just taking classes and doing things that was just helping me grow spiritually and getting stronger. And I pretty much just came into myself during that time of not being alone, but yeah, basically.
Were people like, oh, you've changed so much, Melissa?
Oh yeah.
What's
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
they're like, "She's on drugs. Is something wrong?" she's going through it, she's going crazy. And then, over time, I think people saw the change in me in a positive way. And a lot of people really don't know how to handle it. It's not that I have like this great strength, but I would say I have a great confidence in who I am.
Mm-hmm. How is your relationship with your family today that didn't believe you before, especially your mom? Do you have a relationship?
I do have a relationship with her, but there is no acceptance of who I am. I have a few uncles and an aunt that are okay with what I do, but there's not like a support there, like people coming to my events or sharing my stuff on Facebook. Like there's not support there, and I had to really that was probably the longest thing for me, is to accept that it's okay that they don't support me. Like you have to be your own biggest cheerleader. I had a bunch of messages this morning from friends and clients, nobody blood related, that wanted the link and ready to support me. So you have to focus on who is there to support you, and who does see you. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think, it's really hard because it's your family and it's who you grew up with, and
Oh yeah.
biological mom. But like, even for me, like being sick, you realize that some of the biggest disappointments actually come from the people that are the closest to you, and you make your family what you want it to be. That could be your friends on social media, that could be friends close to you, but family and supporters don't necessarily mean blood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. My clients, I can't even tell you the things they do. Some of them will follow me to like different cities when I do events. Just show up and say, "Hi, I just want to see you." I can't even tell you how much support I get from my clients who were completely strangers at one point. I do a lot of things for people who have addiction, and I still have like such a huge following from people I've seen at like sober houses. They'll message me just to like tell me that I've changed their life and I've helped them, and I feel like that's all I need, like just to know that I helped somebody, they're doing well. I really don't need anything else.
So how do you help somebody like that, like at a sober house?
So I believe that, again, the emotional connection to the trauma later on is where it comes from. So a lot of these guys at the sober house, I've never done, women have it too, but I've never done a women's sober house. A lot of these guys, when they were young, they had a lot of things happen to them, with addiction in their own home. Both parents are addicts. Abuse, whether that's physical, sexual, verbal, and all that stuff. We were told to push that down and keep it moving and keep going forward. And some of these guys, they have big jobs. They're cops or they're firefighters, and they're trying to just make it through the day. And what do? We tend to grab a few drinks, and then a few drinks lead to maybe we need some pills to get through this, or and whatever else we do with addiction without going into details. But all these things that just help us get through the day, between the workload and the trauma from childhood, it just at one point comes to a place where you have to face it.
So that's how you get people to heal, is through the things that you see or the messages that you're relaying to this person.
Yep.
It's somehow triggering something in their mind that's helping them to heal. Is that how it works?
So sometimes we push things down so far that we no longer even think about them. And like, why would you be thinking about, like, just say, you were sexually abused at 9 years old. Why do you need to think about that when you're 40? Well, if you've never told anybody and you're still conversating or in the person who did it's life, like, how do you think that benefits you? Like, it's a big secret and no one in the family knows, and you're supposed to just pretend it didn't happen. How do you think that's going to affect you over time? So sometimes me just going deep down into like what it is that's truly bothering them and bringing it up and letting them know that they're seen is just enough.
Can you see, like, from your experience, what are the biggest things that you see that trauma does to people, like to their bodies, or what like?
Well, for men, I feel like it's usually men usually go the addiction route where women usually go to their body shutting down, where it's like, I have a lot of clients with MS, fibromyalgia, arthritis, but I also believe there are medical links to that. So like a lot of deficiencies are also involved in this. So it's not just like, you can't just physically have all these ailments just because of an emotional thing. It's a combination. But a lot of our emotional trauma just sits so heavy with us. Like, say you're married to somebody for 20 years and he's been abusive, like, where is all that energy going to go? If it's not coming out, if you're not telling your parents, you're not telling your friends, you're keeping that to yourself, it's all inside. So eventually it needs to come out, and it'll come out in physical ailment.
Have you ever read the book? The author's name escapes me at this moment in time, but it's called The Body Keeps the Score.
No, I haven't, but I believe that.
It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like any little thing that happens to you in life is stored in your body, in your tissues, in you, whether you realize it or not.
Yes, it's in your DNA.
Right.
And so our DNA has memory. Our cells have memory. So say in the beginning of June, you had an awful trauma or like a death that happened to you, and all of a sudden, at the end of May, you're like not feeling yourself. You're starting to feel like just kind of wanting to go within. And then you realize like, oh, it's June 3rd. This is the day somebody passed, or, whatever else happened. You can always draw a connection if you use a calendar. I always tell my clients, write down when you're like having bad days, write down when you're feeling that like that spiral, and then you'll connect the dates. It'll happen every year at the same time. I can almost guarantee.
And one of the questions I asked you was, can you not reach certain people? Because I'm sure there are people that have come to you that they're like, oh, can you find my mom or my grandmother or whatever? And you can explain what you told me.
There's, for me, every psychic is different. For me, there's no one I can't reach. Sometimes people want you to say something that spirit is not going to say. Feelings and emotions are totally different once we've crossed than how we're experiencing them here in the physical. So sometimes people are like looking and searching for certain things to be said that aren't. But there's nobody that I have not been able to reach yet that has crossed over.
Do you ever get people that are like angry with what you tell them?
Yeah. I would have to say the most angriest are usually women. Maybe if they've had a spouse pass or a child pass, sometimes they're in denial of their own participation in this person's suffering when they were here in the physical. Say you have a child who was an addict, and when spirit is coming through they will tell me their story of their addiction and what happened and how their parents played a role. And sometimes the parents still don't want to take responsibility here in the physical, and that's okay. So we all have choice. And sometimes they're not ready to hear it. I definitely deliver the messages with like love and patience. But I do have to say the truth. Sometimes they aren't ready to hear it.
Yeah, because I would imagine people that come to see you have no idea what you're going to say.
Oh, no, they don't. I know. And so I always have a hard time with that, because sometimes they're like, what? And I'm like, oh, it gets personal. So I will see everything that has ever gone on in your life in the reading that needs to come out. So like, you go to the grocery store is not going to come through my reading, or what you're doing in your privacy, but like everything emotional and physical that needs to come out that has to do with healing from spirit and you will come out in the reading. And sometimes people are not ready. So normally it'll like knock at the door, and then I say like, hey, do you remember when? And then if you're like not ready to open the door, I pull back and I switch topics. Some people are ready, some people are not.
Yeah. I just lost my train of thought when you were saying that.
Yeah, it's usually women, and a lot of times it's moms. Like they're not ready to accept the role they played in their child's suffering, and I get it as a mom. But we are also responsible for a role we play in our own suffering. So there's a lot of inner work, that needs to be done. And sometimes it takes a little while.
So then would you say that the thing that you heal from most people is really trauma?
It is a lot of trauma based especially when it comes to like my healing sessions, but not for like a regular medium, reading. Like somebody wants to just connect with their grandmother and just hear how much they love them and, how they loved baking with them. Those can be, just very smooth going, not too much trauma or too many sad tears in those kind of readings.
I would imagine, do those people keep coming back so they can keep?
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell people like, don't come like, you can't come like every week. No, but at 6 months, once or twice a year, I'll take the client and, let them connect. And I don't have a problem with that, but a little too much is you have to kind of set boundaries sometimes.
Yeah. So can you leave our message with leave our viewers with a message of hope? So that message of hope could be how to be your true self, how to carry on when you've lost a loved one, like anything, because you've seen so much stuff in this life. Like what message of hope can you give people that are struggling day to day?
Well, I believe our purpose here is definitely to help others. That's our first purpose. And it doesn't mean that you're like, physically picking someone up, taking them to the grocery store, but even helping someone by like holding the door. So being mindful of others, being compassionate, love deeply, forgive often, just knowing that other people's actions usually have nothing to do with your own, um, and trust what's meant for you, pretty much.
And what's the biggest takeaway you want people to know about this? Is a industry? Is that the right word? I don't even know what to say. Medical, psychics,
Yeah.
what's the biggest takeaway you want people to know?
I believe that spiritual intuitives are more accepted now, and I believe that we're here to help. As people evolve, I believe it's more accepted now. So the biggest takeaway is that, that's what we're here to do, is to help people heal on a deeper level. And I think it's just happening more and more as we evolve spiritually as a collective.
So if people want to reach you and book time with you, how can they do that?
So they can go to my page and you can book an appointment right on my link. And if finances are an issue, I do work with some people and do things on the side. So that's definitely an option. Just need to message me and we can discuss it.
So they just go to that website and
Yeah, you can go to my Facebook page and then like I usually post things during the week, like if I have openings, but I always have openings on my Square link, which was right on my page. And you can just schedule yourself.
oh, she's pointing to it. Soul Destiny Square site. That's what they would click, right?
Yep. I do make house calls. I do house parties, so you can have like more than one person at the same time. But you can always message me for any questions that they may have.
You can't do parties like over Zoom.
I could. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking you're like one person in one place, and there's so many people all over the place that might
Yeah.
find.
So like I would just have to prepare for it. Like if I was doing a reading and I knew it was just you, I would be preparing just to read you. But obviously with preparation, you were like, hey, I'm gonna have 4 people at my house. Can you do this reading over Zoom? Then I prepare, time wise and spiritually to, channel that much, because everyone has family that have died around them, but you also have 4 people in the room. So that's everyone's family that you need to be able to decipher who's who. And spirit can only like hijack one of your senses at the same at a time. So like grandma could be coming in, I'm seeing her, but then I'm like feeling your uncle and smelling your aunt. And so like all your senses are being used at the same time, and you have to know how to decipher what's what. So, you need a little preparation for that.
I mean, just a quick question before we go. It's like, there's no school for this. How do you learn it?
Oh no, I know. Like I told you, I had a little bit of, time to myself where uh, I came into myself and then just lots of reading, lots of practicing. Um, COVID actually really was a blessing to me at one point because I lost my job. So I was able to stay home and do readings from home. And then I went to a psychic shop that was local and I started doing readings from there. And when I had clients come in physically, most of them were so ill from COVID itself and from the COVID vaccine. I got lots of experience with all different kinds of things. And I was there for 4 years doing that. So
Mm,
I was able to get a lot of experience there.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
So, thank you for being on the show today and sharing your story. I know it was not easy.
Yeah, it was easier than I thought, but at first I was nervous.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm just going to close by saying, first of all, I want to thank Melissa FELIX for sharing her story with us today. The biggest takeaway is that she showed the importance of being your true self, no matter the adversity you may face, and everything else will fall into place. Lastly, as I mentioned during the interview, people reached out to me and told me I should look into a medical intuitive because they got better when they saw one. So I started researching psychics, mediums, and medical intuitives, and of course, what science says, and I quote, is that there is currently no rigorous, peer-reviewed scientific evidence proving that individuals possess these supernatural abilities, especially in the case to accurately diagnose medical conditions or see inside the body's physical symptoms. And if people feel better after seeing a medical intuitive, it may be and likely due to the placebo effect, end quote. So after I read that, I thought, if that is true, that you can feel better simply by seeing a medical intuitive because of the placebo effect, then in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it's real or fake because you still got the desired outcome. You got better. That's all I got today. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next month. Thank you for watching.
Every day, we wake up knowing what we should do. We know we should take better care of ourselves. We know we should have the difficult conversation. We know we should stop making excuses. We know we should invest in our future. We also know we should take the first step. So why don't we? It's not because we aren't smart enough. It's not because we don't have enough information. And it's certainly not because we don't care. We live in a world overflowing with knowledge. Books, podcasts, videos, courses, experts, even artificial intelligence. We have more access to information than any generation before us. Yet so many of us are still waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready, waiting until tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before you know it, another opportunity has passed us by. The truth is, knowing has never been the finish line. It's only the starting line. Our lives don't change because we know more. Our businesses don't grow because we know more. Our relationships don't improve because we know more. And our health doesn't transform because we know more. Everything changes when we act. When we choose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, action over intention. The question isn't, what else do we need to know? The question is, what are we going to do with what we already know? Stop. Why Knowing Isn't Enough by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Because knowing opens the door. Action changes your life. Available September 2026.
People are searching for experts every day. Are they finding you, or are they finding someone else? Every day, professionals are building authority through media. We've already built the platform, USA Global TV and Radio. Over 14,000 shows streamed to over 60 countries. This isn't about becoming famous. It's about leverage, visibility, credibility, opportunity. One interview, one conversation, one show, repurposed into content, connection, and business growth. Most people assume hosting a TV show requires a studio, a production team, and a massive budget. Our television packages begin at $1,500 US per month. Professional production, global distribution, replay visibility, built for voices with something to say. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and if this resonates with you, we should talk. USA Global TV and Radio, all rights reserved. Contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.